If someone is going to be diagnosed with Down syndrome, today, in today's world, would be a great time to get that diagnosis. You're probably wondering why I would say that. Don't people with Down syndrome have tons of medical problems? And aren't they shunned from society? And aren't they doomed to jobless, loveless lives? At one time years ago, this might have been true, but in today's world, this is far from the reality. As the mother of a child with Down syndrome, I'm happy to inform you of the ways life has improved for people with Down syndrome and how my son and people like him can lead happy, healthy, productive lives. Today, I'd like to show you how life for people with Down syndrome has improved thanks to medical advancements, social acceptance, and separating myths from truth. The American Academy of Pediatrics suggests specific health screenings for people with Down syndrome from the time they're prenatally diagnosed up until through their childhood and up through their adulthood. Some of those suggestions are cardiology, maybe some echocardiograms because they have an increased chance of heart problems, audiology, and ophthalmology to check their hearing and their vision, among others. These screenings are important because they help reduce future deterioration of their health and helps them prolong their lives. According to Babies with Down Syndrome, third edition, they suggest that children with Down syndrome have early intervention, which includes physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy, which my son gets all three. And these therapies will help prepare him for school and prepare him for early learning. So as you can see, there are lots of ways to prevent and control the medical issues that can come upon people that have Down syndrome. Now, we could talk a little bit about some of the social aspects of having, and that's my son, of having a third 21st chromosome. According to the Global Down Syndrome Foundation, people with Down syndrome are able to work, they're able to get jobs, and they're able to date and have social lives, and they're able to get married. They can do whatever they're cognitively able to do. So now that we've talked about some of the ways that people with Down syndrome can have normal, productive, personal lives, we can look at some of the myths that people associate with having Down syndrome. The Global Down Syndrome Foundation lists several myths that people think of when they think of people with Down syndrome. And here are just a few. The first myth is that people with Down syndrome die young, but that's a myth. The average lifespan of a person with Down syndrome is about 60 years, and some even live to be see their 80s if they've been keeping up with their medical screenings and what's suggested for them. People with Down syndrome all look alike. That is also a myth. They do share a lot of common physical traits, but because they also have chromosomes from both their parents, they look more like their families than they do each other. And people with Down syndrome are always happy, as we can hear in the background. Some are always happy, just like anyone else, but they have the same emotions and feelings that everyone else has. So in conclusion, I hope that you leave today with a new outlook on life for people with Down syndrome. What used to be a really sad diagnosis is nothing of the sort now. And hopefully some of the myths that you thought were true about people with Down syndrome have been debunked in your head. Thank you.